Hi, this is Steve Dick, and I'm here in Jerusalem this past 2 weeks with a tour. And we've had, over the last few weeks, about 13 buses traveling the land. And it's always a privilege to come back to Israel and to Jerusalem. And here today, we're right here to my right is the Mount of Olives. We have the City of David. We have the Temple Mount. And the peace and quietness of Jerusalem and the quietness of Israel, I'd like to just share with you a little bit today. And my good friend here is Smadja. He's the owner and CEO of Sarel Tours, and they've been in business since 1994. And the company we have is Inspiration Cruises and Tours, and we've been around since 1981, and I've been involved in it since 1994 myself. So we've shared the same amount of time in the world of tourism. And my first trip to Israel was this month, will be 25 years that I've been coming to Israel and enjoying this beautiful country. And it's so peaceful here. It's so quiet. It's so amazing. And it's such a different country than what we hear on the news in the United States or around the world every single day. Explain that a little bit. Why do we feel so peaceful and so comfortable here, but we hear such a different story from the media?
I'll tell you, Steve, every news media in the world, every news channel, every news have a representative in Israel. So every little thing that happens, they all zoom in because they're here. There's more news organization in Israel than anywhere else. Maybe in Washington, there's a similar thing. But you don't have the same amount of reporters, not in Jordan, not in Bahrain, not in Istanbul, not in Germany. Israel, there's no doubt that Israel is the epicenter of what's going on in the world. So everybody wants to be here, and so they feel that they need to report something. And bad news are news that people are buying, and that's what people, sad to say, are getting on their screens again and again.
So unwrap that a little bit. How does that relate to what we hear on the news? And for people coming here, I know there's a record amount of tourism. Mm-hmm. Almost every month is a record of tourism coming to Israel. Tell us a little bit about, how our friends around the world, and especially the United States, how they hear what's on the news and then coming here to enjoy a tour and the peace of Israel.
I think it's a factor of several issues, but I think the first thing is that people are getting it, and people are understanding, getting to the understanding that terrorism is not the issue of Israel only. I just spoke to somebody, he told me, listen, I don't want to fly through Paris because I heard that Paris is not safe.
Right.
I said, wow, that's a new thing. Usually people are talking about Jerusalem not being safe. Now people are talking about Paris, Germany, Turkey. So I think people are realizing that our reality has changed. If you're waiting till everything will be quiet in the world for you to come to Israel or to go or to leave your home, you'll find yourself at home all the time. So yes, it's a sad reality, but it's a reality that we are getting used to. And I think if you sit at home and you don't come to Israel and you don't move and you don't go out and you stop traveling, you gave a victory to terrorism. That's what they want. They want to paralyze us. They want us to stay at home and not to go on a tour, not to go on a cruise ship, not to go because we're afraid, and they want to win us and conquer us by our fear.
Correct. And what you talked about in Germany and in Paris and Turkey and many other places, there's actually more terrorism attacks and issues in those countries than ever happens in the last 3 or 4 years, what has happened in the last 6 months to a year in those countries. And people still travel there and tour there, but yet this country is actually way safer than that.
You see, the problem is when a kid, 13 years old, has a seizure and he goes and he tries to stab somebody, all the news media around the world are showing us this again and again. And under the picture it says terrorism in Israel. It's a kid, 13, yes, it's terrorism, but who decides to get up in the morning, take a knife, take a thing, and goes on the street. And people say, wow, Jerusalem is dangerous. I heard that there are more killing in Chicago in a month than in 3 years in Israel, probably.
Yeah, I think
I don't know
there's-
the numbers, but
Well,
from what
know
I hear,
there's record murders in Chicago, I think, this year alone,
really.
that you would never see in Israel in 10 years. And yet, what has happened there just in the last 3 or 4 months.
So if you're a Christian in Chicago, you better come visit Israel.
Absolutely, I would agree.
use inspirational
I would agree to
cruises.
that. So, tell me a little bit about the changes in tourism here in Israel versus, over the last 20, 30 years, and especially the infrastructure and the hotels and,
I'll tell you this. The first thing that comes into my mind. 20 years ago, we didn't have a television on the bus. Now we don't have only a television on the bus, we have wireless on the bus. And people are attached to their phones and sending pictures and films and videos, things that they think. So I think that's a huge change
yeah, social
in
media.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so the hotels are much better. They're building
Yeah.
many new ones here in the country to keep up with the tourism. And, there's a lot of new 5-star, 4-star.
and the sites are much more excavated.
Yeah.
We're sitting here, Steve. That's the city of David down here.
And that's what I want to talk about a little bit. Just tell me a little bit about the changes. City of David,
Yeah,
Magdala.
I'm saying the excavation of the city of David. You're holding the Bible. You're holding a Hebrew Bible, but
Right.
it's the excavation of the city of David gives you a huge proof that the book that you're holding is the real thing. You walk there and you see things that were in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. And they're digging all over. You mentioned Magdala, beautiful, beautiful excavation in the north on the Sea of Galilee, which 20 years ago was not there. I mean, we were pointing Magdala. We never went and visited, but
Right.
the excavation there, the synagogue they found in Magdala is unbelievable.
It's amazing, and they really believe that Christ, that would have been a synagogue he probably would have stopped to
Probably,
on
because-
his way from Capernaum in the north to Jerusalem.
Yeah, he stopped there at the McDonald's before he went on to Capernaum. Sorry.
Well, there's many McDonald's in Israel, but there's a lot of excavation
Yeah,
going on here as
That's
well.
another thing that we didn't have 20 years ago.
That's for
We
sure.
had only falafel.
Right. So that's the Israeli hamburger,
Yes.
as we want to say,
Yeah.
for over here.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about the changes in the culture here, as far as the Christian, the evangelical Christian, and the Christian world here. From when, first of all, I want to say that Samuel is a second generation believer. Besides owning Sarel Tours, he's also a pastor of a church here in Jerusalem. Share a little bit about those differences and how the Jewish people and the Arabs and the Palestinians, how they relate to that change here in this country.
When we think about, if we think about Christians coming 20 years ago, and 20 years ago the Christian people were coming on a pilgrimage just to walk where Jesus walked. People would take them from one church to another, but they were not involved so much with the prophetic, if I want to say, rebuilding of the state of Israel. There were not enough museums and so on. And today, when the groups are coming today, they see, let's be honest, if you were here 20 years ago and you'll come again on a tour today, you'll come to a totally new place. And talking about the Christian coming today, and especially the Christian people that you bring in the evangelical world, are very, very well received here and very loved here. And they see you as the key supporters of the state of Israel. So if you want to show your love to Israel, if you want to show that you're standing with Israel,
Come and see.
by
the
you
land.
coming here and walking the streets of Jerusalem, not only you'll bless yourself, but definitely you're blessing the people to come. And Chris, Steve, I want to say that tourism is a key factor of the economy of Israel. We have very famous high-tech companies, which were bought or run on the American stock market, but tourism is low-tech. When you come on a tour, think how many families are eating from your visit.
Right.
Think about the guide, the hotel people, the laundry people, the taxi people. It's a dollar that immediately goes down on the streets, and people are benefiting immediately. So by you bringing people to the land, you're really, really standing with Israel and supporting the state of Israel.
And talking about bringing people to the land, I've had this heart for a new event and an event coming to bring to Israel for quite a long time. And you and I have been sharing in that now and doing some meetings on that here in Israel. And we've been working on bringing a Christian worship music festival to Israel at the end of May in 2018. And this week we met with the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Office of Jerusalem here this week, and tell us a little bit about how receptive this is. Also in 18, it's the 70th anniversary of the State of Israel. And so we want to be a part of that celebration here and also bring the love of Christ through music to this country.
Steve, let me say for those who are watching us and don't really know your company, I think you're emphasizing on creating events in the land and not just taking people and walk where Jesus walked, and creating event
Or run where Jesus walked.
Or run where Jesus walked, yeah. It's a key thing. It's, yes, they're going to see the land and also get blessed. I mean, this week you had Max Lucado and the famous singer,
Matt Maher
Matt Mark.
here. What a great time
Yeah.
we've had.
And you created events. And I think the festival that you want to do, I think is going to be a huge blessing for whoever is going to come, bringing people and doing 2 major events and different singing groups and bands and so on here in the land, and adding to a regular tour. I think it's going to be something that if people are missing it, are really going to miss something major. I think and there's no doubt that the state of Israel was very, very open and encouraging the idea. They even want to do it as one of their key Christian events for the 70-year celebration. So there's no doubt that the state of Israel, both the Ministry of Tourism, the Municipality of Jerusalem, and the Municipality of the Sea of Galilee, around the Sea of Galilee, are all interested in doing such a thing. I think it's a new thing, it's a new initiative, which is huge for Israel.
Yeah, my heart has always been to, when we bring tours here for the last 25 years, is not just show them a site here and a site there and travel around, but to show them the experience of Israel from the beginning of the day till the end of the day through their whole tour, and not just seeing site to site.
Yep.
And we try to bring groups and speakers to go along with the key speakers. And so it's different than just coming here and seeing the sights and going to bed. And with your help and your company, we've been able to do that. So coming up for 18, I know right now we've had 13 buses here in the last couple of weeks. You have 200 buses plus.
But it's from all over the world.
From all over the world coming, and I want to talk about that a little bit, because we would like to invite the evangelical world or the Christian world
To your events.
to our events and to our concerts and the things we're putting together for this Christian music worship festival.
I think one thing that symbolizes our generation is that the world is becoming smaller,
Right.
and global events are something that are easy to do today, especially in Jerusalem. And gathering Christians from all over the world here, just here in the Southern Steps, for example, or anywhere here in the city, I think is huge. Seeing Christian people from all over the world coming and worshiping the God of Israel, the Messiah of Israel in Jerusalem, is very, very powerful. Having Filipinos, Chinese, Singaporeans, German, Brazilians. We talked to a Brazilian agent the other day. And all together coming and celebrating a festival. And then during the day, every group will go to their own thing with their own language, with their own guides. I think that's very unique.
Yeah. And
That could have not done 20 years ago.
absolutely. And for this experience, worshiping together with with Christian believers who love the Lord from all around the world is just a unique and wonderful experience to have, especially here in Jerusalem and around the Sea of Galilee during this time. So, what do you see as the future for total tourism and everything else? You know, as I know this is your livelihood and
I
your
see,
world.
according to the book, that 10 Gentile will hold the robe of a Jew and say, "Let us go to the mount of the Lord." So, you don't wait till Messiah comes. Come before and come up to Mount of Olives, Mount Moriah. And I really believe that today, especially for pastors, think about it. Pastors are preaching about the book, preaching about the Bible, and many of them never came to Israel.
Right.
And I don't think today for a pastor there's a good enough excuse not to come. I don't care where you stand theologically. I don't care if you're for Israel, not for Israel, if you really understand prophecy the way I do. But how can you be, how can you be a Toyota salesman and never saw a car in your life? How can you preach every week
And never
about
see
the land, the people, and the Messiah and never see the land? 300 years ago I could understand. Today there's no reason.
Exactly, and it'll change your life.
And
You know,
you'll change your preaching also.
absolutely. And you know, last night we had a few testimonies, and people are going how just reading the Bible, how much it affects how you change how you just read through the scripture. You go, oh, I've been there, I've been here. We got to hear Max Lucado say this, or Chuck Swindoll, or David Jeremiah, and all of those things change your life completely. Your worship time, your reading time, all of it changes how God is going to bless you in a different and unique way.
You know, the slogan of the Ministry of Tourism, I don't know that they really understand what they say, but I'm sure I hope they are, but they say, come to Israel and you'll never be the same. And I think for a Bible believer, if he comes to Israel and he really loves the Bible, he'll go home and he'll never be the same.
Amen. Well, our time is up. I want to thank you again for
you.
sharing the last few weeks with us and helping us tour the land of Israel. What a blessing it is. We've been like brothers together we've known each other for about 22 years. And we share the same love of Christ and the same friendship and love as Christian brothers and as almost like blood brothers. So thank you again.
Thank you, Steve.
We appreciate it.
Great honor.
God bless you.
Thank you.